Well, John, thank you for coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable podcast.
Thank you for having me. I was excited when I got your message and glad to do this. It's definitely a fun thing to do. It's been a crazy world, so to speak, since the pandemic
Hmm.
hit and strike, and things are starting to look better. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
That's amazing. Well, let's dig into what got you into this fun journey.
Well, to be honest with you, it's always been in my DNA, I think, because I spent close to 30 years in corporate America working for Eastman Kodak and international paper, regional sales, marketing. And I came to LA because I'm originally from New York. And I came to LA when my son was maybe 3 years old. We took him to Disney and Universal. And this was going back a few years, so they didn't have the internet and all the capability today that's kind of widespread nationally across the country. And they had scouts. And I got stopped coming out from Universal and asked if I would be interested in going for a screen test. There was a new comedy pilot that was starting. It was called My Two Dads. I didn't know anything about it. And I started asking questions. What do I got to do? Where do I got to go? And kind of preface to that, my daughter was 6 months old. We left her in Arizona with family. So I had a 7 a.m. flight the next morning, going back to Phoenix, pick up my daughter, red eye back that night, back to New York, back to Kodak. And talking through with this scout, he was asking me, telling me that I had to be there at like 7:30 a.m. And I like, how long? Couldn't give me any specifics. He just said, it's really unpredictable. It could be there all day, it could be there an hour. You just don't know how much they take you through. And the more I thought about it, the hassle with changing flights and hotels and my daughter and being back to work, I said, you know what? Thank you, but no thanks. And it's always haunted me. So I left. My daughter had my first grandchild, left New York, moved to LA. And my son produces the morning show on KLOS, my son-in-law, actually. And he suggested, because I said, you know what? I'm done. I gave up the corporate world, burnout for all those years. And he said, why don't you go down to central casting? You'll have fun. You'll go to studios, be on set, meet people. So I did. I went down and went through the process, registration. And by the way, driving back from Burbank, my phone was just blowing up. Are you available? Are you available? Are you? Because they're always looking for new faces. And the rest was history. And that's how I kind of got indoctrinated. So I became a sponge. I didn't know anything really, didn't have any formal acting. Although 30 years, I really think I had rehearsals and auditions every day when I was in front of customers. So it gave me a good platform. But it's been a wild ride and just have had so many unique opportunities that being new to the industry and not really having the network set up, I've been featured on so many different shows. Night Court. I did all of season one of The Lincoln Lawyer, Night Court, Criminal Minds, NCIS, The Goldbergs. It goes on and it's just been a blessing to work with some of these phenomenal actors. I did all of season four with Billy Bob Thornton, phenomenal actor,
Amazing.
totally different than what you see on screen. The guy's a true gentleman and one of my friends.
Right. I want to dig into real quick um, your role on Criminal Minds. Criminal
Yeah,
Minds, it's still going on TV
yep,
and many more episodes going. And,
correct,
you know, to me, I think the reason why Criminal Minds is still going around is because a lot of people like the thriller and a lot of people like action.
correct.
And also, you notice a lot of IMSA or doctor shows or police shows goes on for a long time. We can do a prime example of Law and Order. Look at
Yeah,
Law and Order. Nobody, probably, if we were talking in 98 right now,
yeah,
if we were talking about, if we were talking 98 and we were like, oh, there's no way Law and Order would last this long, right? If anybody in the audience who'd be listening to this, but in realistically, every episode, every show they do on Law and Order, it's so good. You get glued to your chair, you get excited, and everybody gets thrilled. And
100%.
it's the same thing with Criminal Minds. It's been going on and on and on. Another one like Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
mean, Grey's Anatomy, that's another one, right? You have all the original cast members and the next young, and they're like, wow, being on the Grey's Anatomy is like a big excitement for you. It's like I don't care if I whatever role I get, if I get on Grey's Anatomy, it counts. Grey's Anatomy it is, right?
Tried
So
multiple
for
times. I know the feeling.
right. For you, um, what was your role and how was it like being on Criminal Minds?
So actually, it's kind of unique because I wear a lot of hats. I'm like a chameleon. So I got hooked up with this location company, SoCal Locations, through it was just a background gig that they were looking for actors. It was filming here in Santa Clarita where I live. It was a Lifetime movie, and she's the owner of the location company, and we just clicked. And the next thing you know, she's kind of asking me, "Hey, I'd love to have you kind of work by my side because there's times I can't be in two places at once." And lo and behold, I ended up being the location manager for Criminal Minds season, I think 20 or 21, when Joe Mantegna came back. And we shot it, we filmed it at the Embassy Suites in Glendale, took the whole 12th floor. Now, mind you, he's the only principal actor on set. They took this corner suite, redesigned it with their deck team, and the Embassy Suites are unique. They have a big living room, and then you've got a separate bedroom or two bedrooms, depending on the room. And they actually took the bedroom out of the bedroom, moved it into the living room, built walls, did this whole thing for a 1 day shoot. The money they spent, again, the only actor on set, I bet you they had close to 100 crew members between your grips, electricians, DPs, director. I mean, it was insane the money that is spent to do a production. And that was probably when he came back. And he's one of my favorites too, because when he left, he did a pilot called As They See It, As We See It. And it was about, I don't know if you caught that at all, but it was about autistic kids, and he had an autistic son. And it was kind of getting them with a life coach and integrated to society to live together, these two guys and a girl. And it was hysterical. And I actually got cast as the Pizziola in this pilot. And here's the type of guy Joe Mantegna is. Generally speaking, the principals, they don't really come out. Once they leave set, second team comes in and you don't see them until they need them. And he came out, we broke for lunch. Anybody sitting here? And I said, yeah, it's got your name on it, Joe. Have a seat. And he sat, shot the shit with us, and just a down to earth guy, not no ego. And I think back to him when I was a kid watching him in The Godfather. It's just crazy to see. I love him as an actor, great person.
I
But the
totally agree
whole
with you.
premise was he left the show. Now he comes back. He's living in the hotel, and the reason why he's living in the hotel is because his wife died during the pandemic, and he can't stand living in the house, so he's living in the hotel. And they built a whole room with the crime scenes and photos, and it was just insane. But that I unfortunately I wasn't in the episode. I was just the location manager for that production.
Well, that still counts. It's
Yeah,
amazing though.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
mean,
It was a
that's
riot.
insane with all that film crew in that, I can imagine us, I say us, but imagine being squeezed into this, I want to say small room. I'm imagining it because it's like, it's
The whole 12th floor. So you got to imagine what the budget was.
right. That
They
is to
just
me,
no
to
money.
to me it's mind blowing.
It is.
Wow, if you tell anybody who's not in the entertainment industry and you tell them, yeah, we had 100 people on this floor, they'll be looking at you like, what? You're nuts. I was like, how did you all fit? I was like, that's what you be thinking because it's like, wait a minute, that is a lot. That's really cool. I mean, amazing. I mean, it's just, but it goes into all the hard work we do.
Oh my God,
Right?
yeah.
Because I say we, but it's all of us in the entertainment industry, from actors, from directors, from to producers, from extras, right? Makeup artist, right? You have holding lights. You are standing, you doing all that stuff. Like you weren't on set on scene, but you were there, you
Exactly.
know. And so my heart goes out to everybody, including the actors and the cast members and the crew, because in reality, film and TV shows do not, what I was trying to say, do not come together unless the cast, the crew, and the film crew, everybody is there. That's how we make these stuff. That's stuff meaning TV shows and films.
Sure.
That's how it's made. If you look at big example, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. You look at Top Gun, for example, right? Look how many times, Pirates in the Caribbean, etc. Tom Cruise's movie, or all the movies that come together. You see all the you don't we as an audience. What I'm going to say is, you may watch on TV, you may watch on big film, but we, as an audience, you don't know how much effort it was to do all this special effects and the film crew. If you can get on YouTube and look, or sometimes Instagram Reel has sometimes you see them holding a camera and they're going up the stairs and somebody's dragging them right from behind, make sure they don't fall, and they then you don't notice that they're handing the camera to somebody else and they're walking down the hallway or going up the stairs. That's my point. A lot of people don't realize what's going behind the camera.
Oh yeah.
And and I wish, this is just my personal opinion, I wish we were able to show that more often, because the audience needs to realize, hey, yes, the actors are they're doing great, and I give them 100% my heart go out to the actors. But again, behind the scenes, if that's how it's made, that's how the directors are directing everybody. And a lot of people, I'm going to leave this real quick. A lot of people need to realize the directors and producers is those two are running everything. They are running the actors, the actresses, the directors, the extras, the cast members, and the film crew,
Exactly.
saying this is where it needs to happen, and that is what makes it happen. So my heart goes out to directors and producers and writers out there, and the film crew, and everybody on the set, because that's how it's made. And I just want to dig into that because,
Couldn't happen without it. You're absolutely right.
right, we can't. I wanted to dig into that because that's important. The
Yep.
audience needs to know that, right? And you realize it. It's and also, and you can maybe vouch for it. You may be on set from 6 a.m. until 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. until 6 a.m. the next day. And they're like, okay, go, you can, everybody sleeps for 30 minutes and we have to be back on set. But in reality, that's how it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Right.
grind.
And you could be working from 6 a.m. to midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning. And then the director's like, okay, we got to get a sunrise at 6 o'clock in the morning. And you're like, oh, this is 2 o'clock in the morning. We're not getting enough sleep. But you know what? We need to get the set. And everybody comes on set, right? And bam, right? We get that sunrise,
They get it.
and that's to me is a big impact that what hard work does, and what the audience needs to know, because the film is not damn easy.
No, no. Did you happen to see the production Hollywood?
Yes.
Okay, so I did that production. It was worked multiple days, I don't know, probably 7 days on that. And it was just, I loved it because I love period pieces, number one. It's just so cool to step back in time. And it's it's just mind-boggling to think when you've got 500 plus extras that have to go through a wardrobe, hair and makeup, and especially this took place in like the 40s. Just all the woman's hair and the gowns and just gorgeous. And of course, we were all in tuxes and everything, but it took at least 2.5 to 3 hours. And I don't know how they do it to move that many people coming in, checking them in, getting their wardrobe, getting dressed, going to hair, going to makeup, going to final lineups, and then to finally film, to start filming. And then it's a hurry up and wait game because then you're sitting and holding, waiting for your scene to be called. But that was just such a fun production to do. And Ryan Murphy's productions are always over the top as far as
Oh,
I'm.
that's what I've been hearing. I've
Yeah,
been
he,
hearing that. You are a testament.
and there was many 16-hour days because they had to continue to keep moving. I mean, it was a mini series. I think it was what, 9 or 10 episodes they did. But it was just the cast were amazing. It was just such a fun thing. I wish I could do it all over again. Even though it was only background, I loved it. But that's the whole thing about, what the audience maybe they want to hear or want to know is you don't have to really have that formal acting, so to speak. If you have a passion and you have thick skin, because it does take thick skin, there's a lot of bad days. It's cold. You don't have, provisions. Sometimes you're shooting on location and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and it's freezing and they're trying to get everything done they can and you're just standing there waiting and there's nothing you can do. It's not like you can go into the trailer or holding or something. They don't have that capability all the time. So it's something that you have to have a passion for. And if you do, there's so many outlets to do. There's workshops, there's actors helping actors, that you could do that. And you have to be a sponge. Just go, do whatever you're told. You're a grunt. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is when you're in background. They're moving you like mules, and you have to be ready and do what they tell you to do. You got to listen and you got to deliver. And that's just it because those are all timing elements. You only might be crossing, but it's an important factor to bring life to the scene. And without the background, you really don't have a scene, to be honest
Right.
with you.
And
I
you
mean,
said it too.
yeah,
You gotta have a thick skin and you gotta have courage.
yes,
But
courage.
don't give up.
Don't, no, there's many days you want to give up, but then there's times like this, like now I'm just inundated with
Mm-hmm.
auditions. It's like now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to decline this because I don't have time for it. And this one's got a quicker deadline and it's a better scene, it's a better role. So you can start to pick and choose versus waiting and just taking anything. Well, I guess going back to that is my point is that's your basis and foundation because as a background, you get to learn everything. You set direction, stage, camera left, camera right, just all those little buzzwords that float around that you have no clue, first team, second team. These are all the acronyms that you kind of have to learn, the PAs, the ADs, the first AD, the second AD, who's really in charge. It's like everybody wants to be a chief, but you can't have chiefs without the Indians, to speak.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
but
I want
you
to
can
dig
be someone.
into, no, I totally agree with you. I'm going to switch topic here real quick. I want to dig into, do you have any upcoming projects that you're allowed to talk about?
Um, yeah, there's actually, I think it's the 26th of this month. We have a film, No Nations, that we did last year. We shot up in Barstow. It's based around an apocalyptic time, and it's going to be phenomenal. It's a short, because he's trying to work out the financing to do the full feature and then distribution. But it's premiered actually in San Jose in March, and unfortunately, I couldn't go to the premiere because my wife ended up in the hospital. So I missed it, but it's going to be here this month on the 20th, I believe it is. And I can't remember the film festival. It's the LA Film Festival.
Hmm.
But that is a phenomenal film that really shows what could really happen in that type of environment.
Right.
And
And real quick, I'm sorry, is your wife okay?
yeah, yeah, she's doing much better. Yeah, doing much.
Okay.
But it's just an apocalyptic time and it's every person for themselves and it's a survival fight and they have to go underground during the day because of the radiation and the sun that they can't.
Hmm.
And so they're all like nomads walking around. And it was just a phenomenal set. It was very cold, another cold thing, shooting all night, sitting there with hand warmers and putting them in our shoes and just huddling together in this little tent that we had in the middle of the desert there just to stay warm with one little heater. But it was amazing. So I can't wait to see it on screen. But that's called No Nations. I had another feature that just came out. In fact, it premiered last month at the Directors Guild. It's called Surrender, and it's film that's just beautifully written. And I didn't find out until the Q&A that night at the premiere that the director actually confided that the story was built and written on her life. And it's about an Asian girl who gets addicted to gambling, very high up in corporate America, and loses her job, loses her relationship because of the addiction to gambling. And it's kind of a message that the director writer wanted to convey that, these casinos actually target Asian communities because they have that drive to want to win, 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 win. And so it was heartfelt when I heard that it was really hurt. I didn't know that doing it, but I play a blackjack dealer, Carmine, and dealing for this the character, and it was a fun project, and the film turned out.
Wow, amazing.
So hopefully it's going to get into distribution. So that's what she's working on right now.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to hear it and see it and watch it. Um, what was the most biggest pivoted moment in your life?
Um, I think I would say when I got to do photo double for Andy Garcia and stand-in, because I love him as an actor too. He's amazing. But it's a film. I don't believe it's out yet. I haven't heard anything about it, to be honest with you. It's called um, The Prince, and it's actually a story based on the life of Hunter Biden.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was actually I spent more time in hair and makeup because I was his photo double than I did actually on set. That was just incredible. And the director came and it was just the one scene that I had to do this day. And the director came and said, okay, here's what we need you to do. And here's the direction. And he said, let's go through a couple of rehearsals. And I said, you know, if you want to film it, we can film the rehearsal. And it was one take and he came up and he hugged me and he said, you're wrapped. It was like
Wow,
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. I said, if all days could be this good. But yeah, that was really a pivotal moment. I really, because that's something that you have to really go through some heavy screening to get
Mm-hmm.
those principal roles. Yeah.
That's really amazing to hear. Wonderful. Um, you know, I want to dig into what is your why? Why are you doing this?
Why? Because it's really there's this gratification and fulfillment that when you're on set, you don't really get to see the big picture until it all comes together. And sometimes you don't get to see that either because you end up on the editing floor, so to speak. Like, for example, I did I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston story. They only filmed here her final scene that was done at the Beverly Hills Hilton where she actually died. And I played the hotel manager, and I um, come and ascertain the paramedics is this whole thing is unfolding, rush them in the elevators, bring them up to the suite. And I get goosebumps thinking about it because it was so real when they were filming it and the crying and the screaming that was going on and the equipment that they had to do to get the boom to come all the way up and build the platform so they can shoot the Beverly Hilton on the outside while she's on the phone crying, saying she's gone. And the drapes were just the shears were just blowing through the doors, and it was just because it was the corner suite of the hotel. Just beautiful scene. And when the film came out, it was like, what happened? Where is it? And so I emailed the director and I said, what happened? And they got back to me and said that they felt that it was too traumatic to convey to the family again to go through that because the way they did it was so real with her in the tub. And he said that we made the decision not to put that in the film. So it's kind of heart crushing because you want to be a part of it, but I guess you understand why. And I guess it was the right choice. I lost you. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally understand. I don't know what happened. Sorry, but I totally understand why, because that's so sad
Yeah,
we want to see that, but we understand as an audience, man, you don't want to show something
right.
because we don't want to traumatize the audience.
Right. And at that time, her daughter obviously was still alive, so it's, you know, understandable too. But
Yeah, I totally understand.
it's a good question.
Um,
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to that. Oh,
what is the best advice you ever heard or received?
best advice is um Robert De Niro, makes a point about saying, you've got to go into that audition with the mindset, doesn't matter, you're working, even though you're not getting paid, but you're working and you're perfecting your craft. Whether you get the role or not, it's besides the point. You were active, you got the opportunity, you did it, and you gave it your best, and give it your best. But don't stress over it because it can backfire on you and actually shoot you in the foot. So you just got to go in there with an open attitude. And unfortunately, it's sad because in today's world, especially with the pandemic that really forced this, there's very far and few between live auditions anymore. Everything is,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, there's good and bad about it. Self tapes are great because you don't have to leave your house. You can do all your own, but it's the time and the effort you put into it versus going in. I think you have a better opportunity of being cast for the role if they can see that confidence, and you're going to get direction and notes to have a second opportunity. And that actually happened to me. I had one live audition. It was the first live audition since the pandemic, and it was for a film called The American Protocol. And I was like shocked that this was going to be a live audition. So got it, went, did it. Director, assistant director, loved it. And it was totally blew my mind because it was my first experience with that, where they handed me a script that was different than the size they sent me that I rehearsed for. And I thought, well, this is kind of bold. Why would they do that? But, feedback I heard from others said, they just want to see your versatility. They want to see how quick you are on your feet. And so I read through it. They gave me a couple of notes, read through it again, and they loved it and said that we'll definitely be hearing from them. But the assistant director is like, are you really hung up on this role? Do you really want this role? And I said, yeah. I said, it's kind of a match made in heaven. The character's name is John. My name is John. I said, what more perfect could it be? And he said, I see you as a politician. I've got another character in mind. And I said, I'm open for it. If that's going to be better for the production, I'm more than happy to shift gears. But I do love this role and I would appreciate the opportunity for it. Unfortunately, we were supposed to start filming in December. That got pushed to this February. And apparently, the reason why they had to push it back was because one of the principals was from Iran and he couldn't get his visa. So they had pushed it time to hopefully get his visa. And then February came, and I guess they lost the SAG. They didn't sign the SAG signatory. So that kind of screwed things up. And then finally, the last communication I got was the budget fell through and it's on indefinite hold, which would have been, I was actually going to play Eric Roberts' consultant advisor. So it was an interesting role, but
That's a
that's
bummer.
it just you think you're all set and that's going to happen, and a moment later it changes.
Well, that talks about anything can happen in the entertainment industry.
For sure,
It's a bummer.
for
It is,
sure.
100%. You know, it's in the entertainment industry, it's not easy and dandy. It's tough.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's
It's
tough.
very
Yeah.
cutthroat, to be honest with you, from all aspects of all the different personnel and the roles to the actors. I mean, there's just so much that goes on, and you got props. I mean, it's frustrating at times because you're trying to do your best and be all you can be for that production, but there's always somebody that they really don't belong there. Could be the props person, could be hair and makeup, could be wardrobe, and they just give this negative energy. And it's sad because I've been on sets and it's like, pinch me. It's like I thought that set that I was on was the greatest. This one was definitely by far even better. Just the synergy, the harmony, the fun. And then when you can have fun and do this, there's nothing better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% agree with you. It's being on set is fun, and seeing all the cast members. But again, people who are getting into the entertainment industry needs to realize don't give up.
No,
It's tough, but don't give up. You'll get there.
no, because that moment can come at any time. You never know. And it's hard too because you look at, like the American Protocol, that film, but maybe there was a reason it didn't happen. And maybe for the better, and hopefully something better is going to come out of it. So
Mm-hmm. You
just
never know. Don't
stay
give
positive.
up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's for sure. 100%. You know, um, what is your advice for a lot of young actors who want to get into the entertainment industry?
Um, it's really start at the bottom. Just I think background opportunities are the best. I did a lot of student type films, a lot of free projects, so to speak, gratis, just to help out, pitch in, and fun. And I've kind of built a little network with people that I've met along the way that I see very good qualities and values in. And we've got this collaborative group that we actually started making our own productions. So we're doing little shorts, and we've done two so far, and film it all on an iPhone, no budget. Everybody pitches in whatever crafty, whatever we got to do to get their props, and we make it happen. And these two shorts have been phenomenal. One was I played a person that was just getting out of prison. It's called Half House, and I had basically disparaged my sister, stole from her, and almost put her out homeless. And now I get out of jail and I show up on her doorstep. I'm like, "Hey, sis, how you doing?" And she's in shock. "What are you doing here?" And
Mm-hmm.
the whole motion. But I'm trying to now sweet talk and letting her let me stay there because I just got paroled and I need a place to stay for my parole officer to come and do weekly visit checks. So it was kind of a very heartbreaking situation, but that one was really good. And we just did another one called Just a Chat. And this film is about a husband who I play the husband, and I basically hire a hitman to kill my wife because I'm through with that marriage. And she has just abused and used me up. So I have hired this hitman who happens to turn out to be a con artist and basically takes the deposit, never follows through on anything. And then we have this meeting, and he's just trying to tell me, why don't you just get divorced? You can still walk away. He's obviously
Mm-hmm.
money. And I'm like, "Where's my money? I gave you money. You'll get the other half when the job is done." And he's like, you know, there's no reason for this. You can just walk away. Nothing, no harm, no foul. We just move in different directions. And I'm like, not happening. Is this what you do? Is this your little con game? You have these little just a chat, and then you expect to make these nervous people just walk away and let you keep their money. And it's pretty dramatic, but that came out well. And they're actually doing the other one, but there's
Wow, amazing.
productions that I couldn't get involved with it, but they're making
Well,
like a little.
you've done so many roles.
It's been, I printed off my resume, to be honest with you, just because I go, I can't remember this stuff anymore. There's like this, this. I mean, it's,
Well, the list goes on and on because I looked at all the roles you played,
I've been
and
blessed.
I'm gonna be honest, you done amazing. I've looked at it and I could name so many roles that you've done, and I've seen so many trailers you were in, and you're fabulous,
Oh,
But also it shows a testimony, in my opinion, that hard work pays off. So any actors, any age, young kids especially, and who want to get into this entertainment industry is just look at John's IMDb or any actors that been on my podcast or on my show. Look at their IMDb because it shows hard work pays off. You may audition and it takes a while to get a call back or get a role back. But once you hit that jackpot, you get a role
For
and
sure.
you get on set and people remember you. And then you go and audition again and people are like, "Hey, you should, for example, contact John. I think this he might be the role." Or John may know somebody or you go from there. You never know. And that's one thing I love about the entertainment industry is we're a family.
That's
We're a
what
family.
happens. That's happened to
You
me.
go for audition, you may not get it. They follow you on Instagram, they connect with you, and you become a family. And you have family in real life, but you have family in the entertainment industry. And my view, the family and entertainment industry doesn't go away. They're always there to support you. Also, it doesn't matter what state you're living in, from the West Coast, North, South, East, all the way to New York, Maine, or in anywhere in the Europe or the world. I say Europe, but in the world, we are in the entertainment industry. We support each other in the entertainment industry. We tell each other. We give ourselves a pat in the back. We applaud each other. And A-list actors to B-list actors and anybody out there in the entertainment industry, we support each other. We are there for your highs and lows. So, you know, John, for you, it's like I said, it's all the roles you played, and everybody and who's been on my show. Shout out to them, but you know, it just shows a testimony because entertainment industry is tough. It is tough, and we a lot of fans, and I know I don't want to put them on the spot, but a lot of supporters, a lot of fans, a lot of people who don't realize, and this goes back to what I said on the set and a film crew and TV show or TV crew, is you are on set and it's hard work. It's like you said, changing wardrobes or makeup or hairstyle. You may be having a flat hair one and that scene, and then they take you in a wardrobe and they want to spike your hair. It's hard work, and a lot of fans. I wish they realize. I keep bringing this up. I wish they realize all the hard work actors and directors and the film crew and the film set or TV show or TV set is that this is hard work that comes together, and that's the reality of it. It takes, a lot of people think, oh, okay, we can do a 30-minute TV show and bam, that's it. No, it's not like that. It's like hard work. It's like, wait a minute. It should be a 30-minute show that you see on TV or a 1 hour TV show. For example, Criminal Minds or Grey's Anatomy or Chicago PD or anything like people are like, people don't realize, you're chasing a car or you're running after a person and you have to think, how many times did they have to do the run scene,
Yeah.
right?
Take
Because
it. Hey, going
they
again.
could they could be out of breath, but you
Yeah.
don't notice it. They're like, "Oh, nope, we gotta have you run again." And you're like, "What? This is my 15th time running." And the bad guys, they're like, "Wait, we're running again? What?" So that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize the hard work that actors and directors and the set crew have to put in because it's like drink water. Let's rest a little bit. Okay, now I want to have you run again. Run from here to halfway down half the football field. Act like you're running down half down the football field, and you're like, "Wow, what? You make me run that far again?" So I mean, that's my point. And John, you did everything on point. It is like wardrobe, makeup, hair. It's running with a suit and a tie. And trust me, done that in real life. It's hot. It doesn't matter if it's cold outside or not. You with a suit and a tie and those nice shoes, John. It's hard running in those nice shoes. It's
Absolutely.
hard.
Not to mention too, you're shooting in all kinds of different environments, and
Yes.
especially now with the summer months, you're shooting and filming on location, and it's hot.
And that's my
Well,
point.
and even if you're in a facility where you can have air conditioning, the minute they're ready to film, that air conditioning is shut off because sound, you can hear a pin drop.
And you said it. You said it. The air conditioner, a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's indoor.
Yeah.
Yes. But a lot of people don't realize the first floor may be cool, right? It was like, ah, okay, it's not bad. But if
Right.
you're going up the stairs
Yep.
on like a crime show or whatever, or a TV show, you're like, oh, second floor is oh okay, we can handle it. Third floor, you're like, whoa, it's hot, right? So
Yeah.
you're right. You're 100% right
And
because
makeup's over there trying to fix
yeah, and
everything.
then they're like, oh, cut, hold on, we gotta fix it. Let's blow the fan, and then and
Folks, come on.
yeah, and that's you're right, John, because that's what people should realize. When I say people, fan, audience need to realize is that it takes so much effort on that because you're outside, you're 100 degrees, in the cold, you're in the winter, it's really cold, you're not wearing a jacket. You're wearing just a suit and a tie in a winter and it's cold outside, right? And you try to it's you have a talking line that might be 30 minutes and they're like okay cut and you wear a jacket for you can wear your jacket to keep warm so I think my point. I think a lot of people need to realize is that you we is that it's hard dedication. But again, let everybody out there to know that if you're upcoming, you're new, a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids, a lot of adults who want to get into the entertainment industry, John and I and everybody else, we want to tell you we're not here to scare you off. We're here to tell you that it's fun, but the key thing is it's dedication, passion. Don't give up. Keep the courage. That's the thing. The big thing is don't give up. Can't is not a word. Go for it.
I
And
I would even throw in, I think, because when I see people on set, I'm actually appalled sometimes because they're so aloof. Wardrobe says, bring options, and they don't bring options. Now you're putting them in a time constraint because they're trying to get everybody through that they've got to try to go through their wardrobe to pull something that fits and that's going to be appropriate. Versus if you bring your own, it's going to fit and you're giving them options because they might have somebody, two or three people already that have got that same color scheme. So now they need something different and you brought options. So now they've got something for you and they don't bring anything or they just have bad attitudes. You need to show up with, if they say bring, and they usually give you a selection and pictures to choose from so you know kind of what the scheme is. But bring those options. Show up on time. There's no early, late, on time. You got to be there early. Don't show up. If your call time is at 6:30 or 6:15 a.m., don't show up at 6:15. Be there before because number one, you're going to make a good impression on the PA who I don't want to give a bad impression, but some PAs, they have this power thing. They think, they've got all this power, but they're really the lowest on the totem pole. And you don't want to make enemies with them because they can make your life real miserable because the PA is going to get the direction from the second AD who got it from the first AD to go pick somebody that looks this because they're going to feature them. And you might get, and I was blessed. I've lost count on how many times that happened to me that I actually got featured. And that's where you start to get recognized. And all of this is really all done, no agent, no manager, all just personal drive, networking, looking under every rock, doing, workshops, meeting different people, learning things from them. I did an episode of SWAT. We shot it at the Biltmore Hotel. It was a casino heist, and I was cast as a blackjack dealer. And I happened to film an independent film at the casinos the consultant for the casino aspect of the shoot. We filmed at her house as a location shoot. And so she came up and she's like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, I didn't know you do you blackjack?" I go, "Yeah, I mean, I've been in casinos enough. I know the game to it's not like it's going to be official here." So she's like, "Oh, I got to hook you up because there's all these casino event companies looking for dealers all the time. I work for 7 different companies now and do poker tournaments, blackjack, roulette, craps. Got lucky and did Timothy Chalamet's premiere party because he was nominated for an Oscar by Cartier that threw it, and had him and Kylie Jenner at my table dealing poker. And it just events you don't know. It's just the whole networking
Right,
process.
100%.
And it's just it's crazy how things work out, but those are side hustles that you can pick up as well by
Hmm.
networking that helps feed the fuel, especially during the pandemic and the strike. Those were like a blessing.
Yeah, 100%. You never know. Connection. It's the
Yeah,
connection.
for
And
sure.
Instagram helps too.
Oh
You have
yeah.
to enter, like you and I, we connected, through Instagram, and that's my point. Instagram helps with the connections, 100%. You know,
Yes.
and that's one thing I love about the entertainment industry. We're a family. We support each other, and to that help. It's so amazing for me to hear we all love each other. We all we do. We all want to wish ourselves the much success in the entertainment industry.
100%. And you're happy when somebody else has that opportunity, for them.
Yes, 100%,
Instead of,
100%.
oh, wow, why not me? Don't have that at your daily.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't. Support each other.
Yep.
That's the
You
key.
you
And
certainly can't convey that on set because that's the most important thing. You never know what could happen. They just might, because it happened on the Lincoln Lawyer where one of us did get a contract, and you just never know. So mind your P's and Q's, be respectful, show up on time, do what you're told, don't chit chat, don't play on your phone, just do all the right things.
just be on set because you never know who you're gonna meet.
100%.
100%. You're the test. You're not the only one. All the actors say the same thing. Be there, be on set, don't give up. Meet people because you never know who's going to help you in the future.
Exactly.
100%. Well, John, thank you
Oh,
again
appreciate
for
it.
coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable podcast. I cannot wait to have you back on.
Absolutely. Love to.
Yes, thank you again, and we're definitely gonna stay in touch.
For sure. For sure.
Well, thank you again for coming in. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.